Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Running Your Business in This New Reality, under our Back to Workshop series. My name is Liz Burke, and I am joined by Andy Randazzo. He and I are co-hosts of today's webinar, and we hope to provide you with some valuable tips to add to your business plan during these uncertain times. And Andy and I had come up with this idea to put together a Back to Workshop series because of our combined experience in marketing and public relations. Andy?
We do have extensive experience in both. I think I've got, 25 plus years in marketing over the years. So, we really wanted to create this Back to Workshop series because we know as small business owners, a lot of us don't have, a board of people. We don't have, a number of people that are telling us what we should be doing or what we could be doing with our marketing and PR. And that's what we're going to exclusively focus on, is really your marketing and your PR. There's going to be a little bit more that we talk about because it is part of the topics that we're talking about today during the current situation that we're in. But a lot of it is going to be really derived around the scope of marketing and PR. Shall we get started?
We shall.
Okay. There we go. So Andy Randazzo, this is me, HitState Marketing. Like I said, we've been doing marketing for the last 25 years or so. Clients big and small. A lot of them are on the smaller side, smaller, medium-sized businesses, but they have been as big as Sony Pictures, 1-800-Flowers, NHL, things like that. We're digital marketing specialists and brand evangelists, if you will, or brand marketing specialists. And we come up with marketing strategies all the way to the implementation of your marketing. And Liz.
Yes, so I am a communications specialist. I have a dual background in broadcast journalism and public relations. I also teach at Hofstra University. I'm an adjunct professor in their Department of Communications. And I have experience in public relations and crisis management, and I offer a wide variety of services through my company, Liz Burke Media. And we have some upcoming workshops to tell you about. This is all under our Back to Workshop series. So after today's webinar, we have a few coming up. We're trying to keep them to Thursdays at noon. So the next one after this one is on May 21st, how to create a virtual business model, where we'll look at every angle of a business and identify ways to use virtual, whether it's through sales, through HR, through marketing, public relations, customer relations. Then on June 4th, we'll have another webinar, Best Practices for the Job Seeker, helping people look for jobs. Maybe people just want to dust off their resume and take another look at it and find ways to improve it. We'll also go over job interviewing skills and the like. And then on June 18th, how to use LinkedIn for your business. So as we all know, because of the virtual experience that we're all involved in, social media is critical, especially in terms of using LinkedIn for your business. And we'll show you distinct ways to use LinkedIn, how to set up your profile page, what type of content to share, who to contact, how to contact people, and the different methods surrounding LinkedIn and its best practices.
Yeah, and a lot of these are, general topics, but we'll get into specifics as these dates come up because things are moving so fast and things are changing so fast. But we'll get into some of that once we get into some of the topics that we're going to talk about.
So for today's webinar, we will talk about the following topics: operating a business amid adversity. This is a very challenging time for all of us. So Andy and I want to provide some tips and be helpful as we can in terms of helping other business owners and other people trying to navigate the situation that we're all in, and knowing that virtual is reality, how virtual can be used, and assessing that. Also, the right messaging is critical. We'll talk about some key talking points that you want to keep in mind when talking to your customers, what types of messaging you want to use when you are looking at your website, email campaigns, social media. And in terms of the Q&A, what we ask is that during the webinar, as we go through slide by slide, if you could enter your questions in the Q&A box below, just type your questions in, and then at the end of the webinar, we will go over those questions and provide our answers verbally at the end of the workshop.
Great. So we're going to turn off our video for now and just go through this presentation with you guys. Again, just as we're going, please put in any questions that you have in the Q&A, and we'll get to them towards the end. So we're going to shut off our video now, and we'll get to it.
Okay, operating a business amid adversity. So for the last couple of months, we've all been working differently because of the situation that we're in amid the virus and the restrictions that go along with it. Many of us are trying to run a company in these challenging times. So as we've been working in this different type of way, now is a good time to assess what you have been doing over the last couple of months, what has worked, what has not worked, and obviously eliminate what has not worked. And ask these questions in terms of, are you operating virtually, fully? In the future, will you have a hybrid of virtual and in office? Do you offer an essential service, a non-essential service? And more importantly, what do your customers need from you now? You should have a good sense, since the last couple of months have transpired, of what your customers need. And it's important to know how you are communicating with your customers, how often you're communicating with your customers. And another important aspect is your website. So the homepage of your website should not look like it did back in January. Your homepage of your website should reflect what's going on now. Any type of safety or hygiene measures that you have instituted or are going to institute. Maybe you have new products or an alternate revenue stream that you want to put on your homepage. But this new information, in light of what's going on around us, should be prominent on the homepage of your website.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, communicating with your customers is absolutely key. And there's so many different ways to communicate with your customers. But during these times, I have to say, phone calls to some of your best clients. I mean, maybe some of you can't get to them all, but I think phone calls to clients, letting them know that you're there for them, that you understand the situation that we are all going through, is absolutely key. You know, just talking to them and it not being a sales call, but just more, how are you guys doing? And some of those calls that I've had, you know, over the last, you know, couple of months with clients were really great. And you know, it inspired them to do things that, you know, we talked about and things that we'll probably go through in this presentation. But just that phone call to them was invaluable. It really was.
Okay, so in terms of what you're doing now, so you are assessing what you've done the last couple of months, what has worked, what has not worked, what has your customers needed over the last couple of months, what can you do now and moving forward? We like to think that it's important to focus on the positive. If there's a way to focus on the positive at all, there's a lot of negativity around us, and that can spread.
I'm not sure
it could also reduce morale in the workplace. So that could be an issue. So if there's a way to focus on the positive and spin it that way, that is helpful to you, your business, your customers, and your employees. One way to have a positive spin is to find a way to create an alternate revenue source. One example that I saw was a woman who runs a makeup business, and now she can't do face-to-face makeup for people who are going to events, etc. So she needed to find another way to keep her business going. So what she came up with was online tutorials where she teaches people online how to apply their own makeup. So her customers are paying for these makeup tutorials virtually, and she's also gaining revenue from the money that's coming in when the customers are buying her cosmetics. So she was able to flip that to virtual, and it's working very well now. Another idea that we think is important is setting up a crisis task force. You know, we're in this now, we have been in it, and this will continue. If you can identify 3 to 4 people that could make up this task force, and they would be responsible for keeping up to date with the New York State guidelines, finding out what needs to be done, creating plans for the business, and then bringing this back to management, bringing this back to employees. And there's this confidence that this task force is staying on top of this and creating plans to stay in accordance with what's going on in terms of the virus.
Yeah, and that's really important because they're changing this pretty regularly. And even in our own marketing, we're keeping up with things that are happening. So just on Monday, they released what businesses are going to be open, how they're going to be opening, and all the logistics that they're pushing out. But even some of that information is changing regularly. So keeping up to date with what the guidelines are and what the state is saying is incredibly important, because there are some things that you will be able to do and some things that you won't be able to do, and then how to navigate around those to start up your business.
Right. So on a regular basis, check the New York State website, governor.ny.gov, because the guidelines keep changing. Check for county updates depending on what county you're in. And I'm sure many of you have been watching the press conferences that provide updates there. So staying on top of that is really helpful. We also recommend, if it's possible within your business model, to hold a daily 9 a.m. virtual staff meeting. And there are a few benefits in terms of holding this daily meeting online. It gives you an opportunity to stay in touch with your staff, which is great. You can hear from them, hear what's going on their end if they have any issues. The 9 a.m. start also starts your employees' day, so it gives them structure where they can kick off their day, ready to go. And the 9 a.m. meeting also provides an opportunity to assign tasks, so employees know what they need to work on for that day. And structure is really important with this at-home working experience. And another idea that some offices are going to implement is a staggered office schedule. So instead of having all employees in the office when we can at that point, it will be staggered so that only a few employees will report to the office on Monday. And this may be something that happens over the summer. And then another set of employees report to the office on Wednesday, et cetera. So you only have a few employees in the office every day, and then the other days they would work from home. And what you should do next. So obviously hygiene and safety measures, that's the #1 priority. So continue the focus on that. And what you're doing now will change next month and then in the coming months. So make sure that hygiene and safety is a top priority. Also, looking ahead, how can you arrange health screenings? Now, these are some of the bullet points that are in the guidelines on the New York State website. So implementing health screenings for employees, identifying social distancing protocols. What will social distancing look like within your business now and in the future? And also plan the use of masks. How will that be rolled out? Who will wear them? When will they wear them? And of course, reporting any cases of the virus. So you really need to look at additional procedures that will align with the New York State guidelines, but will also mesh well with your business. So looking ahead, identifying how your business will operate this summer, and then we advise setting monthly goals. And these goals may change, but if you have certain goals for next month and the following months, it will put you in a better position in terms of moving your business forward through the end of the year.
And all of these points are important for your business, but it's also incredibly important for you to be able to communicate what you're doing to your customers. So make sure that your customers know that you're focused on hygiene and safety measures, arranging healthcare screenings. Make sure that they know all these protocols that you guys are taking, that are taking place at your business, whatever business that may be. Make sure, whether it's an email or whether it's on social media, just let your customers know that this is what you guys are doing. Just make sure that they know what you guys are doing to keep them safe.
Great. So video conferencing is something most of us have been doing almost on a daily basis, whether it's Zoom, Skype, FaceTime. I know, Andy, you wanted to touch on this?
Yeah, so we've all been doing this, and this is nothing new. Zoom, Skype, testing your equipment ahead of time, but just make sure that you keep these protocols in place, because there's a lot of Zoom calls that we've done from people that just didn't look professional. That just, I know we're working from our homes, and it could be back offices or sometimes bedrooms or kitchens, but just try to keep it as presentable as possible on some of these calls. And these are things that you should know, but we think it's important that you do know, because you know this point, or this headline in this particular topic, virtual is a reality. Think about that. This could very well be a reality for, I mean, it has been for the last couple of months, but it could very well be a reality for months after. And it could very well be a reality for your business in years to come, right? And that's just being honest. But look at that. How do you make that part of your business now and in the long term, right? So look at your business as a whole. How can you make this, virtual reality a part of your business? How do you take your product and or service and turn it into something that is virtual, whether they're classes or cooking classes, or anything that you would do face to face with somebody? How can you make that part of your business virtually? And we've been working with a number of companies, whether it's entertainment, whether it's insurance, lawyers, accountants, service providers, HVAC companies. We've been going all over all these ideas of how to make your business now virtual. And some of them have even seen growth in those areas of how they're making it virtual, to the point where this is going to be their model from now on. This is going to be their sales model from now on, because they've seen, and not just during this time, they see the ability to do sales with this tool. So they'd be able to contact and bring together business owners from across the country where they haven't before. And they're saying, wow, this is amazing that we can really, really do this and make this part of our business model. And I think it's because everyone's gotten so used to it. Everyone's gotten so used to doing Zoom calls and Zoom presentations and webinars, more so than they have in the past, if they weren't into it. Now they were kind of pushed into it. And now I think everybody's comfortable with it, and comfortable with it being part of your sales process or just your business long term. So again, just to go off of that, being that it is virtual now, things that are virtual, right? What are you doing on social media, right? So being that this is a reality, you need to be doing more on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, creating a content calendar. Because if you're not out there, let's say at networking groups or events and functions and things like that, you need to be putting yourself out there on all these other social networks. So whether it's more video, more content that you have, because you can't meet with these people, your clients, face to face, how are you connecting with them otherwise? Whether it's a cooking class, right? Let's just say it's a cupcake company and you sold cupcakes. You can't sell cupcakes other than maybe pickup and delivery, but maybe there's a way that you can create a series of how you do cupcakes at home, or these are some of the tips that we would do in our own cupcakes, or even giving away recipes during this time. I saw a lot of restaurants doing, which I thought was great. So what are you doing on social media if this is the new virtual reality that you're in? And you just look at your business, even if you're not a restaurant, if you're a law firm, an accounting firm, some sort of service-based industry, what are you doing to make it be more virtual?
Yes, and just tying into that in terms of the content calendar, for those who may not know about it or they don't use it currently, it is a great way to plan your content ahead of time. So for example, for my business, we're in the month of May. I'm now planning my content that will run in June. Now, obviously, social media posts change as times change and new developments happen. So I'll shuffle things around, add new posts next month, but I will have a month's worth of content ready to run and be scheduled in June. So there's comfort in that. And there are various platforms that allow you to put a content calendar together, and platforms that allow you to schedule your content. Hootsuite is one of them, where you can post content ahead of time on multiple social media platforms, and then everything is scheduled and ready to go through Hootsuite, and then it's published the next month. So if you haven't used Hootsuite or the like, I would definitely recommend looking into that. And those are some of the things that we will be working on in terms of our upcoming free workshops, and we'll be diving deeper into the social media landscape, diving deeper into using virtual in its entirety for your business. So again, always look for our upcoming workshops that are
Yeah, and I think that's really important to note, that you can have a foundation of content that you put out there that would be information that your audience would want to see. But because this situation is so upfront and so prevalent, I think it's important to make sure that you're looking at what's happening and posting things accordingly in there, right? So we used to typically do like a month out for clients, sometimes 2 months out. We would post content that's relevant, right? But now, because things are changing so fast, you have to really keep up on a weekly, on a daily basis, more so, and post content on a daily basis, along with, like Liz was saying, having that calendar of already posted for the month, but adding to that things that come up.
Absolutely. So then in terms of the messaging, there's messaging in terms of what you want to say to your customers. It's the messaging that you put on your website through your email material, your social media posts. And we think right now, given everything that's going on, and in terms of how you want to communicate with your customers, there are top 3 things to say to your customers. You want your customers to know that you're there for them. We are here for you. What are your needs now? And that type of outreach will let the customer know that you care about them. And number 2, here is how we can help you now. So based on your needs, here's how we can help you. And always keep that connection with your customer. Number 3, and these are the measures we are taking now to resume business operations in the future with confidence. So your customer is hearing from you about the now, what do they need, how you can help them, and then they see that you're looking into the future and making plans to resume business operations in its full capacity, and talking about what you're doing from a safety perspective, talk about what you're doing from a hygiene perspective, and that will build that confidence. You don't want to lose these customers at this point, so always keeping that customer connection and using the right messaging.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just stay connected with your customers with the right messaging is absolutely key.
And the other part of messaging is in terms of what you're putting out there on your website, through your email campaigns, your social media posts. So we mentioned earlier in the webinar, you want to adjust the homepage, at least, of your website to reflect what your business is doing now, given the current situation. Also, make sure you have regular email campaigns going out and social media posts. But we think what will be best in terms of identifying that content is putting it into 3 buckets, categorizing it by, number 1, safety and hygiene. So letting the customer know through your website, email, social, what you're doing in terms of safety and hygiene. Number 2, helpful tips for customers. How are you helping them? Provide a daily tip, make that outreach. Once you find out what they need, you can write tips around that. And number 3, then you can promote your company, talk about your products and services. But we think this mix of safety and hygiene tips and company and product promotion makes sense at this time.
Absolutely. And exactly where it should appear is your website, email campaigns, and social media posts. Yeah, again, this is really critical as to what you're saying, why you're saying it, and just keeping in touch with your customers. So in all that, we understand that it is a lot of information, right? A lot to do. So, Liz and I were talking about this, and we just said, we should offer just free consultation, whether it's, talking to Liz more about media, PR, or whether it's talking to me about social media marketing, email campaigns, and just branding in general. We're willing to offer up everyone who's on this call, or everyone who registered, an hour of free consultation just to sit down and talk to us, via Zoom or phone call. We're more than happy to sit down and just talk with you about what you're doing now, what you could be doing, what you should be doing.
Right, and just in terms of the services that I provide, in addition to public relations and crisis management, I help individuals prep for press interviews, so I prepare them for that. I offer training in professional speaking, presentation skills, and also job interview training, where I help my clients with their resume, how to interview properly, where to look for jobs, and things of that nature. And also training in terms of social media. So training my clients on how to use social media, how to run campaigns, so that they can then run their own social media campaign. So I provide them the social media guidance and tools to get them on the right path to run their social media program.
Yeah, and virtual events, we've been doing a lot of those. I mean, we've done a number of events, but some of these virtual events that we're doing for clients are amazing. They really are, and they're getting such a great response. We have clients that are in some of which are in a digital space, and we're doing everything from whiskey tastings to how to make a brisket to magic shows, like literally a magic show where we've hired a magician, and people who want to know about their product or service. It's more of like, being that everybody's working from home, it's a little bit of entertainment with a little bit of sales. And I guess a lot of times that's what sales is just giving people a platform of where to go, what to do. Let's talk a little bit about business, but then here's some additional entertainment value to what it is that they're selling, which is great. So with that, we're going to open it up to any questions. If you have any questions, just put some questions in the Q&A box there, and we'll answer some of your questions live.
Andy, we did get a couple of questions via email. One question was, should I be working on direct mail right now? How would a direct mail program work in light of everything going on?
Okay, that's a really good question. So we've run a number of direct mail campaigns for clients, and I wonder if the question is it safe? And that's probably the first thing. Like, how are you doing direct mail? I know a lot of printers are still open and they're still doing business. Everyone, if you go to your mailbox, I'm sure you're getting mail. So that's part of which is a safety issue. So I think mail carriers, and I think they're taking their precautions so that when you do get it into your mailbox, I mean, we have a thing at our house that we keep it in the garage for about a day, depending on how sensitive it is. And we literally go through the mail with gloves, and we take things out. We leave, a garbage there where we're throwing out boxes and things like that from Amazon. But the way I look at direct mail, I think direct mail is great, tied in with an entire campaign, right? So, don't stop everything else. But we had a direct mail campaign that went out for a client. But first we started off with some social media posts. Then we did some in-mail with LinkedIn. Then we sent them an email, and then a direct mail piece, and then eventually a phone call. So I think direct mail is still viable. And I think while people are at home, you would think that they would be getting a lot more mail, right? So I would think that they would. So I would say yes to direct mail if that's who your customers are. But again, you have to really define who your customers are, right? So let's say my daughter, who's 17 going on 18, she's not really getting direct mail. She's more of an Instagram, TikTok kind of person, right? So you have to understand who that direct mail piece is really for. If it's for businesses, it's a little bit different. But somebody like my parents who are in their 70s, direct mail is great for them. They don't have TikTok. They're not on Instagram. So I think it's definitely a viable solution, direct mail.
Okay. Another question we have is related to public relations, which I can respond to. This company is wondering if PR should be part of their program right now. How is the press covering companies like his? And I believe there still is an opportunity there, but you need to provide the press with the right angle. Are you involved with something in the community that they would be interested in? And that would be one example. Are you doing something new out of your business because of the ramifications of the virus that would be interesting to the press? And when you reach out to the press, let them know that you are available for a Zoom interview, you are available for a socially distant interview in person, and that you're following all the protocols that are necessary. And I believe that some of these news outlets are really looking for new angles. They're in a tough spot too, because they need visuals, they need story ideas. They're working from home, there are skeleton crews. So I think that the PR opportunity is pretty good at this point, but you need to provide the right angle and position it in such a way that they will feel comfortable with the press interview and you will feel comfortable with the press interview.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too, because you should always have some sort of press kit available at any given time, with
Yes.
headshot, company shot, you know, all those things that Liz does so well, and having that available. But during these times, I think it's also good to remake that press kit, because the messaging is going to be different. What you're saying is going to be different. And if you have a hot topic and something that people want, that you want people to know about, like Liz was saying, something that you're doing in the community, something that you're doing that's good, something that you're doing that's better. You know, I think that's really important to kind of highlight. You know, I think people are really tired of, you know, the bad things that are happening. But if you're doing some good out there, that's a win-win for everybody. You know, promoting the cause, and you getting a little bit of feedback from that, I think that is just, you know, good PR.
I agree.
Right.
If anyone has any questions they would like to type into the Q&A box below.
I'm glad you're looking, because I can't see the Q&As.
We don't have any just yet.
Here's another one.
Will you be sharing the tape of this webinar?
Yeah, we're recording it right now. So yeah, we'll put it up there. You'll probably get an email tomorrow with the webinar and some information about it.
Great. Any other questions?
And if we don't have any questions, let me just go back to that one slide that has some of the other topics that we're going to be talking about. We're going to try to do these on a bi-weekly, and it may even be a weekly basis. But again, I think some of these topics, again, are really important. As small business owners, you know, again, you don't have a team of people behind you that are telling you what you could and should be doing. So we're going to help you out with some of the things that we see that is important for your business and what you should be doing, what you should be talking about. So, you know, our next topic is creating a virtual business model. Like, how do you do that? What does it entail? And for what businesses? I say it's for every business. I think if you're not talking about having a virtual component to your business, you know, I think it's just essential.
Yes, and we'll go into the details of that, the nitty-gritty of that. The same will be done with best practices for the job seeker and really identifying ways to allow your resume to stand out, allow yourself as a candidate to stand out, where you could be looking for jobs. And we know that the job situation is bleak right now, but we still think that there is a need for the job seeker or someone who just wants to improve on how they're presenting themselves to the public.
Yeah, and that's really key, because in a couple of months from now, you know, jobs will be different. They really are going to be different, and people are going to, you know, hire back. So how do you stand out from this influx of people that are going out and looking for the same jobs that you're looking for? How do you stand out? And that's a lot of what we do is how you stand out and how do you present yourself, because there's going to be you know, just a ton of people looking for the very same jobs that you're looking for. I think that's really important. And then of course the LinkedIn, you know, how to use LinkedIn for your business. We can give you tips, tricks, of what we're doing and what we're doing and how we're getting business, but also tips and tricks of what we're telling other people to do and clients to do. Like, how are you getting sales? How are you getting business through LinkedIn, and what you need to be doing? That's very important.
Yes, and we will be specific in terms of hashtagging, tagging, what you should share, the type of content that should be generated, what your profile page should look like, how can you gain a bigger audience on LinkedIn. All of these factors are important for a business.
So make note of these upcoming workshops. We're going to put them out on social media, so you'll see it when you see it. We'll send emails out to all the participants, and you'll get an email probably tomorrow that will have this recording if you guys want to go through it. And of course, at any time, give us a call, reach out to us, and take us up on this free hour consultation, which I think is great to get Liz's expertise and some information that I have that can help you in your business.
Great.
Good. All right. Glad you guys could join us. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.